Let's be honest, security often sounds complicated. Firewalls, segmentation, access policies. It's a lot. But Nord Layer takes the complexity away, and in less than 10 minutes, you can set it up across your business and protect every employee connection. And they do that by blending VPN, zero trust access, and malware protection into one clean dashboard. Yep, no hardware, no long calls with support, just toggle it on and get back to work. For me, it's the kind of practical solution that I wish existed when I first started working remotely. So if you've been waiting for a security tool that your whole team can actually use without needing a degree in network engineering, NordLayer is it. So please head to nordlayer.com/techtalksdaily and don't forget to use the code TechDaily-28 for 28% off. When a global professional services firm commits more than $1 billion over the next 5 years to AI, I think it's worth paying attention. Certainly caught my attention. And that's exactly what BDO USA announced earlier this year. And at the centre of that strategy is my guest today. He brings over 3 decades of experience in digital transformation, innovation and strategic IT leadership. And at BDO, he leads a national IT organisation that drives modernisation and security across the enterprise. But today, we're going to dig into how BDO is putting that billion-dollar AI commitment to work. Learn more about that global approach to innovation, the balance between risk and opportunity in enterprise AI, and what it takes to align a massive digital transformation with business objectives. So from security to scalability to client impact, my guest will walk us through what AI looks like inside one of the world's largest professional services networks. But enough from me. Let's get Russ onto the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, thanks, Neil. Hello, everyone. My name is Russ Ahlers. I have spent over 3 decades in the technology sector. It seems like a long time now. I see that in when we start talking about it. But spent the last 25 years working at BDO. Currently serve as the Chief Information Officer. In my current role, I'm responsible for overall technology vision and strategy. I'm also, this includes everything from managing infrastructure, cybersecurity, and AI. I'm passionate about leading BDO through, technology changes and what comes next in the technology field. Seems like it's always changing. And for me, it's been a privilege working for an organization that's committed to not only innovation, but funding the innovations.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you join me on here. And every day I try and demystify a different area or learn more about the role that technology is playing in transforming businesses in every industry. And one of the things that put BDO firmly on my radar was when I read that you'd recently announced a $1 billion investment in AI over the next 5 years. And over the last 3 years, I think there's been a lot of talk around AI and getting value from it and ROI and kind of investment into this kind of technology. So I've got to ask, what was it that drove that commitment for that $1 billion investment, and what outcomes do you hope they will deliver?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Let me start off by, we started our journey into AI, I would say back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And then when generative, hit in November, I think it was released in November 22, if my memory serves me correctly. We looked at this and said, hey, wait a minute. This is going to be, now the price point is down to where the average corporation and smaller corporations can, adapt this very quickly and inexpensively, comparatively speaking to, before. We started our initiative there. We named a chief data and AI officer at that point and dedicated the full team. Through our early experience with AI, generative AI, especially, we started seeing, the the value from it. And, so as we took a look at this, we felt that, for the future, we wanted to make a deep commitment to innovation. And this has always been part of our strategic plan since our current CEO has been in office. So for us, it's just not a buzzword. We do really try to live up to it. And so as we were looking at this, first and foremost, we recognized that AI was going to fundamentally reshape the business landscape. And we felt that, we really need to be committed to funding this. And really, we were watching how AI was starting to open up new possibilities. And we wanted to make sure that as we looked at our own business, we looked at how we were future-proofing BDO to be a leader in this area, and also, to serve our clients. The other thing that we were looking at, to be honest with you, Neil, is, as individuals are coming out of college and, coming into the workplace, they don't want to go into a workplace that, I was going to joke and say they're back from the 1980s. And, we really felt that in order for us to deliver the solutions that our clients expect and the time frame they expect, we had to really double down on the investment and ensure that BDO was successful in the future. So that's what kind of drove the initial, investment in there, the decision for the investment. We're already seeing, I would say, fruits of the labor from that standpoint. Our early investments in, in internalizing like a chat BDO or a chat GPT system, we call it chat BDO. We're seeing about 65% utilization in that system. And we've saved approximately, since the inception, about 1 million hours of professional time using that. So, as we look at this, we know that, the AI can help us automate tasks, uncover, let's say data patterns, enhance our services. But we felt that, from a driver standpoint, we felt that it really would future-proof BDO. From an outcome perspectives, what we're expecting is that it will help us improve quality and efficiency of our services, and allow us to create new solutions for our clients, and that we can go to market on. I think if you take a look at other technology trends in the past, whether it be the deployment of the PCs when the PCs hit the market, the .com era, mobile phones, things like that, we saw a lot of trailing changes to how businesses were performed. Today, I can do almost everything that I do on my PC on my mobile phone. 10, 15 years ago, did you think you could do that? And how did that change the business landscape? So we're thinking that this will change the way we deliver services to our clients, and we want to be prepared for that and make sure that we empower our people to do their best work.
And I'm curious, how would you say you approach AI adoption differently in a professional services environment compared to other industries, for leaders listening that might be scattered around multiple industries? What do you do differently, do you think, or what is different about your approach?
Well, it's interesting you asked that question. I started my career out in manufacturing, working for a subsidiary of GM at the time, EDS. And, obviously, manufacturing is going through its own I'll call it revolution, but automation, the factory floor and stuff like that. And when you compare a professional services firm to, let's say, manufacturing or retail, we are really people-centric. We use a people-centric approach at BDO anyway. And I feel that, our expectation is to be able to empower our employees to do their jobs better. It's an augmentation of what they're doing. It's not a replacement. Whereas in some industries, it's really to kind of replace the human element. Here, it's really to help them, give them the data that they need, to give them the tools, the tech they need to make decisions quicker. And that's where we really feel the difference is in the professional services area. We also feel that it'll help build trust, integrity. If you take a look at, for example, in an audit process, the requirements you do spots, or let's say when you're going through a validation, you might do sampling Well, going forward, that's not going to be, with technology, you're not going to do that. You're going to, you sample the entire, evidence file. So this will, I think, also build trust with integrity with our clients. And I think that's a little different approach than what some of the other manufacturing, industries or other industries are using themselves and the approach that they're using.
And just to bring that to life, are there any other examples of how AI is already being applied within BDO and how it's improving operations or client services? Because I think, again, there's a lot of excitement at the moment, but a lot of businesses trying to work out where that value is. And I think it'd really bring to life if you had any examples you could share around that.
Absolutely. As I mentioned previously, the first thing we did was we named a chief data and AI officer. I took a look at this, and if you think back and compared it to other things that we've seen in the trends, let's say security, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, IT security wasn't as pronounced as it is today. And I felt that in order for us to be able to focus on delivering AI solutions and AI driven, applications and things like that, we really needed to double down and build a team around it. So our first aspect was to build a dedicated team that would focus on delivering these solutions. So our early wins were internalizing. Well, first off, we built out the framework. We started with that. We wanted to start with like the ethical AI piece of it. So we really focused on, policies, procedures, making sure that we're protecting the client's data. I mean, that's foremost in the front of our minds. And then we moved to our first tool, which I mentioned before, was that we internalized a chat BDO system. And then we built it from there. We focused internally on, I would say, on the improvement areas, things making it easier for people to find information. We had, so this tool is multifaceted. And, we received some very positive feedback in the first, let's say year and a half of its implementation. We've now are in the process of extending that tool even further. We're going to release a new copy of it coming up in the next month. And this will be a multi-agent environment, transforming its current platform into a dynamic platform. And it's actually a proactive business partner to make it more seamless, intelligent, to the end users and help them. So this will go out, early, like I said, in the next month or so, and it's going to include a couple different apps on it. One is the chat system, but also a Doc Pro system that can analyze documentation and things like that. But also, we released another one called Consultative Selling. We're in the process of modifying that system as well. And that system gathers information on potential clients and helps us, collate the information in a much faster pace than what we have done in the past. I mean, something that could take you, let's say, a 5-day, time frame to gather information, it can do it in, a couple hours. So we got a couple of those things that are in the hopper. Our first piece, Neil, you mentioned earlier on in the conversation where companies are trying to feel out the ROI and stuff like that. We're looking at it in two aspects for AI. One is, the price of barrier of entry. You have to have it just to stay in business or to, to be, get a seat at the table, maybe, is maybe a better way to say it. But the other part of it is we're now working with the business lines even more closely to build solutions or to start diving into solutions that will help in their business automations. So we have a whole team that we're going to spin up on AI business automation and transformation. And the whole idea of this team is to be able to go after business reengineering. So this is in addition to the AI team that we first implemented 2-3 years ago. We are now, or 2 years ago, excuse me, we are now building out a larger team to go after more a broader form of adoption across the enterprise within BDO. And we're also working with third parties. We're working with third parties on advanced audit solutions. So parties that have experience doing this type of work. And our goal is to bring more solutions to the table at a faster pace than what we even are that we're able to today.
And BDO has got a global footprint. So, how do you ensure your AI initiatives align across so many different regions while also respecting local regulations, local needs, etc.? I would imagine that is somewhat of a challenge too.
That's a big challenge within I think a lot of county networks or corporations even.
Yeah.
When you take a look at the global footprint of a company, what might work in, let's say, the United States may not work in the UK. And you take a look at other countries with different rules and regulations. That has to be at the forefront of your AI strategies. So what we do within BDO to help us with not only AI strategies, but even with business strategy and things like that, we normally form roundtables or committees to and take representation from those local countries to help form policies and procedures and get the countries to participate and share information across boundaries, for example. So for AI specifically, we have a global international innovation and AI roundtable, a little bit of a mouthful. But we do have a committee that meets regularly. So for example, in that one, we got the US firm, UK and New Zealand sharing information on a regular basis. Whether that's governance frameworks or lessons learned. And we are sharing with others as well, not just those three. But it is it's designed to help get information out to those firms, and also it helps with adoption. As you take a look at something that's adopted here, there's been tools that will adopt here or build here in the U.S. that we'll take a look at deploying those or using those in other countries, and then we help those member firms with that. And that's something that I would say it's been even my days at Global, that's something that we really try to lean into. We haven't cracked the nut completely, but that's something that still on our agendas, and it's at the top of our minds, is to ensure that we are sharing regionally as well. I think the other part that we look at on this is the local and regulatory requirements and business needs. It is different from country to country. You get the economy of the UK or the US, comparatively speaking, to a smaller region or a smaller firm. That's totally different than they need different tools and different tool sets maybe. So we have to keep that in mind as not only the business aspect, the local laws and regulations, but also just what the business requires in those areas. So it does create opportunities. And we're in the process of we encourage this cross-region in sharing of governance and documentation to promote best practices. But this is going to be an ongoing effort. And I would say that in a network like ours, it's never really ever something that you check off, but it's something that you always aspire to achieve.
I love that. And when I was doing a little research on you, I also read that you've led IT strategies both in the US but also internationally. So again, how has that global experience, how's that helped shape your perspective on innovation? Any big lessons there?
Yeah, it's interesting. I started that career in 2010, or that position in 2009, 2010, and working as the global head of IT. And it does change your perspective. You come in with one perspective from a culture, and you realize very quickly how you have to change your style and be. I felt that it really changed how I approach things, made me more open-minded, and it allowed me to listen. I think as a leader, sometimes we want to talk all the time, and we want to, pontificate our experience and our knowledge. And I think sometimes as a leader, you have to sit back and listen. You have to listen to, to the individuals. And I feel that was one of the biggest things that, that working internationally has taught me. And not only that, but there is differences, and you have to respect that and try to, be respectful of local values and things. So from my perspective, that's kind of what shaped, me as a leader as I, left that role and came in as the CIO in the U.S. firm in 15. The way we conduct the strategies for not only for global but also for the local firms is normally what we do is we get together as IT leaders, specifically within the technology realm, and we develop a global strategy, and we work together jointly on that. And this is being led now by Belinda Thompson, who is the global head of IT for BDO Global. But then our strategies locally, our strategy within the US does feed into the global strategy, so it ties together. So there's a lot of collaboration back and forth on that, and that's how we do it to try to have that commonality between the member firms at a high level.
And security and compliance, these are other top priorities for firms, especially when they're handling sensitive client data. So how are you balancing AI adoption with some of those responsibilities? You've probably had lots of conversations around that, but anything you can share around that?
Absolutely. That was one of the initial the initial concerns right off the bat was around security and sensitivity to data. When the tools started to hit the marketplace, if you recall, 2 years ago, that it was kind of like the Wild West, is what I like to refer to it as. And security and stuff wasn't necessarily top of mind. And one of the things that we did is, we took a look at where, the internet-based chat products were at, and quickly realized that, we could have some serious issues if our employees are using those systems to support client deliverables and things like that. So that's what led us to developing our internal frameworks. Mike has done a fantastic job on that as the chief data and AI officer. So he really dug into that in the first couple months of his role, even before he was officially named in that role. He really dug into that and to help, form our policies and procedures. It was not a popular opinion, to be honest with you, Neil. There was times where I think people felt that, we were too constrictive. But we also looked at it from, you have to adapt, balance your AI adoption with security and compliance. It's a must, especially with the data that we have to protect. So that's one of the things we looked at. We partnered with Microsoft on that, and they're obviously a partner with OpenAI, and so we leveraged the services through that. And the reason we did that is that allowed us to put a wall around our data, so that if we do want to roll out let's say a client sensitive type of product, we know that it's protected and it's not going to be shared with a greater LLM to train the large language models. And so that was a big consideration for us. So when we look at tools and services that were adopted, we have to look at the tech to see, are we able to control that? If we can't, then we don't buy those tools or technology. And we've really, I think, honed our responsibility there. It's our policy and framework that we developed is really about responsible adoption. And the team, I think, does a great job. We also have the way we drive this out into our business lines. We have a research and AI development team called a RAID team, and they explore the new technologies and they bring it to kind of a committee style team to raise awareness. And also, and that's how. And then we start investigating. So if they come up with, let's say, they need a new widget and or a new tool, we'll start looking at it. We'll start looking at investigating not only the tool and the tech, and does it meet the business needs, but also does it meet our legal obligations and our security obligations there. So that's almost, I would say, that is probably one of the biggest determining factors of whether we'll use something. It's got to meet the business need, obviously, right? But also security and how that data is handled is going to be really utmost important. So we'll turn a product down if it doesn't meet it.
And beyond increasing efficiency, what role do you see AI playing in enabling BDO professionals to deliver more value to clients? What kind of help are you seeing it playing there?
I think what we're seeing so far with the tools and the tech that we've been able to put into our users' hands is, we started with the efficiency side first, but also the security and adoption. We really want to ensure that, our data was protected. But now we're moving to that next phase where, our tools are helping our users uncover deeper patterns in client data, for example. And it's automating routine tasks. So our goal is not to replace but augment our employees to allow them to focus on more value added analysis. And so that's as we look at this, we feel that that's the value that it's going to bring to our clients. Is it's going to allow them more time to focus on the value add side of the business instead of the the routine and mundane tasks that we can hopefully automate. So we feel that that'll be more proactive in providing a personalized service and support to our clients. And beyond that, we feel that that'll also help us drive smarter and more impactful business decisions and outcomes for those clients. So that as we take on a client, we can look at that and say, this is their business, this is how they operate, and modify or adopt tools and tech for that. That's going to be down the road. But that's one of the benefits of having a dedicated team to look at that stuff. They can be in tune to what the business needs and adapt much faster to the market shifts.
And as you look a little further ahead, how do you expect AI to maybe even change the role of CIOs and the broader professional services industry? If you look into the future, any predictions or any gut feelings about where this leads?
That's a very good question. First off, I really feel that the CIO role is always changing. And I don't mean to make that a cheeky answer, but I do feel that it's changing on almost a daily basis. It feels like AI will fundamentally reshape the role of the CIO. That's a given. But I think the shift will come from traditional IT leadership and management. If you take a look at some of the things I get bogged down on a daily basis, that really needs to shift to be more strategic and be more a strategic leader instead of focusing on the operations, let's say, of an IT organization. So I think that's going to be one of the key shifts right there. And then I think the other key shift is that just like with any other tech, curve we've seen in the past, the other piece is it's going to be how do we integrate more of this into our business in every aspect? That's going to be forefront of any CIO's mind as they go forward. It's not going to change, and I think it's going to drive value add to the business. So that's going to be another I believe another change in the aspect of our roles. Another thing I think is going to happen is we're going to have to figure out just because you automate something or invest in it, going back to the earlier statement about ROI for AI solutions, you have to know when to fail, and we have to be able to have models to track these AI powered solutions. They're not cheap, and if they're not delivering the defined benefit and the productivity or the ROI that you expected out of them, then we have to have models that basically say, all right, if it's not a competitive advantage to have that tool, then maybe we need to shut it down. So I think that's another thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to change how we manage and report on those and monitor them. And then last but not least, I feel another one on there, Neil, that we have to really change on is really ensuring that our IT infrastructure remains ethical and secure. As we roll out these solutions, it's easy to misconfigure something or with the technology, if you have a bad business process, AI is just going to make it a faster bad process, and you need to make sure that that it's ethical and it's secure. So we need to make sure that as you go through this evolution, that you're really looking at these business processes and audit, streamlining them and fixing them as you go. So I think it's really going to put the CIO in the limelight of business transformation going forward, much more than they have in the past.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with everyone today. And through the power of manifestation and a little serendipity, I want to see if there's something we can do for you, because some of the biggest names in business, VC funding and tech have either been guests or maybe even listened to this podcast. So is that a person you'd love to have a breakfast or lunch with? Who would it be and why? And hopefully he or she might just get to hear this, but who would it be?
I think it would be Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
I admire the way he operates. If you take a look at, his life and how he has lived his life, how he operates from a business and strategy, and how he plans his legacy, I think it's just a real cool. I think he's got a cool personality and it'd be fun to sit down with him to have a breakfast and chat about what shaped his life and just have a good conversation about it.
Love it. Well, we'll throw that out into the universe. Let's see what we can make happen there. And for anybody wanting to find out more about the journey you've been on with BDO and AI and your investment, etc., where would you like to point everyone?
I would say head out to our BDO.com website for the US. And if anybody wants to talk in greater, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, I'll add links to absolutely everything there. And more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to come on here, share your insights, share your journey. I think there is so much value, especially for people just starting out and with a little bit of trepidation on what the best things that they could be doing and the best place to start. And I think being able to follow in your footsteps there, I think is priceless. So thank you for sharing that with me today.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. Been awesome. Thanks.
So a big thank you to Russ for sharing how BDO is thinking about AI at enterprise scale. It's one thing to experiment with small pilots, but it is another to back that with 5 years and $1 billion of investment. And one of the big takeaways for me is AI is no longer a side project. This investment proves that it's a strategic priority, one that is directly tied to business outcomes. And modernisation now is much more than just tech upgrades. It's about integrating AI or any technology responsibly across global operations and client services. And leadership in AI isn't just about innovation, it's about trust, governance, and making sure that technology amplifies professional expertise. So for more on BDO's vision, please just visit BDO.com, check out the firm's latest updates on its global AI investment, and I'll leave you with this. If your organisation were to make a $1 billion bet on AI, where would you place your chips? Efficiency? Security? Client experience? Or somewhere completely different? Let me know. techblogwriter@outlook.com, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, just at Neil C. Hughes, and the website, techtalksnetwork.com. But that's it for today, so speak with you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.